Hello YouTube, this is Morgan, Airspeed Prime here at my next Airspeed Reads Naruto video. This one's going to be for Volume 3, which is called Dreams. There is I assume that's the actual volume cover, but I'm not fully sure how they do it with regards to these 3-in-1s. But we're doing the final volume in the first 3-in-1. And yeah, we're covering another 10 chapters. They are Training Day, The Emblem of Courage, The Land That Had a Hero, A Meeting in the Forest, The Enemy's Return, Ambush ×2, Speed, Dreams, Sharingan Devastation, and Awakenings. So this is chapters 18 to 27 to finish off this first 3-in-1. So overall, I thought, really good volume, getting basically right up into pretty much the middle of the final fight of this arc. I think absolutely is going to finish in volume 4. I'm not fully sure, again, I'm reading most of the manga for the first time. But covering a lot of ground here, developing characters like Inari, finding out what the full issue is with his father. We had the training for all of Team 7 with the chakra control, climbing the trees. Again, the characters just getting to know each other, Inari, the connection to Naruto, the whole hero thing, getting, I suppose, properly introduced to Haku and who he is, the connection to Zabuza, not fully explained yet, the flashback, but seeing most of the connection here, getting those powers coming out, big reveals with Sasuke, two of the obviously big things. He awakens his Sharingan and reveals who he wants to kill, his older brother. And I think this is also the first time we get mentioned that he is the last Uchiha. I don't think in the previous volumes they'd fully mentioned that he was the last of his clan. I think they'd mentioned similar things, that like he was sort of alone like Naruto, but not gone into much depth on it. So a lot of very interesting little things here in this volume. And then of course we end with a lot of really interesting fights. So yeah, the first thing I want to talk about is the first chapter, basically, where they immediately start their chakra control training. And what's interesting here is that what he does, he says, look, you can use your chakra to climb up trees. You can basically stand upside down on things if you have enough chakra control. And he just teaches them that, like, look, what I want you guys to do is see how far you can get up this tree, take a running start if you need to, use this kunai to mark how far you get up. And immediately they establish that Naruto doesn't have enough chakra control, in that too often he doesn't put enough chakra into things, so he ends up just slipping off immediately. Sasuke tends to put too much chakra into things, so he just kind of like explodes kind of off of things. He has too much chakra. Whereas they established that Sakura actually has the best chakra control of the team and like immediately climbs the tree. She passes the test like with no problems whatsoever, which was an interesting thing in that it's like pretty much the first time they've really had a real positive reveal for Sakura, that this is what she is really good at. She has amazing chakra control, though Kakashi does actually establish previously that, like, okay, that's interesting, she has the best chakra control, but the other two have the potential that if they gain chakra control, they have a much bigger chakra reserve than she does, and they will definitely surpass her and potentially even me. And he mentions Naruto specifically. If he gains control over his reserve of chakra, he could be like amazing. So I just find it interesting that they gave this little thing to Sakura, that she has this over the boys. She passes that immediately and is immediately just sent to protect Tazuna on the bridge. And subtle little thing there in that scene. They don't focus on it too much, but just the idea that some of the workers that are helping Tazuna with the bridge are beginning to leave because they're fearing for their lives. They don't want what happened to Inari's father to happen to them, because Gato is obviously still in charge. They're building this bridge behind his back pretty much, and it's only the ninjas being there that's even allowing them to build the bridge. So that's kind of what that scene with Sakura allowed you to do, have her learn about this while the other two continue to train. And you definitely get the rivalry between Naruto and Sasuke here, but you also get the start of their friendship, I think, pretty much here. We've previously established that Sasuke kind of understands that Naruto has been through similar things to him, and Naruto to some extent considers Sasuke, like a rival and respects him in certain ways. But this, seeing them like compete against each other to get up the tree first, was really interesting because it highlighted, I suppose, some of the teamwork aspects among the team, and that they developed a little bit, but Naruto was still losing to Sasuke. Sasuke was still getting a little bit higher. So Naruto goes over to Sakura and asks her for help. And Kakashi sees this as big development because obviously the big thing in the Bell test was that Naruto specifically didn't get help from any of his teammates. He went to do it on his own, because that's the only thing he knew. So him going over to Sakura and saying like, "Look, you did this straight away. Any tips for me?" He did that before Sasuke did, which is very notable. And then he begins to develop a little bit more than Sasuke, and then Sasuke reluctantly asks Naruto for what advice he got from Sakura, and it's just this moment where like, you're not as good as you think you are, but I suppose Naruto does actually tell Sasuke what Sakura thought them, just that just to really concentrate on the tree, the surface that you're actually going to be climbing up, and focus and just have a clear mind about the exact amount of chakra you need to do that. Simple explanation, but I suppose it just helped them kind of do it, and then it still takes them basically a full week, I think, to do it, but they eventually do both manage to climb the tree, but they have like tired themselves out incredibly over the course of doing this. Naruto to the point where he actually needs a couple of days to recover because he's put so much effort into it, to make it happen. So that's why they set up the situation where Sasuke, Kakashi, and Sakura go to the fight with Zabuza, whereas Naruto is back at home with like Inari and Tsunami and stuff like that. So it's just a nice thing in like the early chapters, of course. But we also get the whole reveal about Inari and Tsunami and the father Kaiza, who is established to not be his biological father, but effectively the only father he ever knew, because the biological father died when Inari was quite young. And this is very brutal. It absolutely is like extremely brutal the way they showed this. This is definitely something that is changed severely from the anime going into the manga. In the anime, when they show what happens to Kaiza when he's technically killed, they do establish that he was killed / executed. But when they haven't tied up to the stake, his arms are still there, but they establish that like someone had like smashed his arms with a hammer. Still pretty brutal, like the way they do it, showing him his like arms all like purple and stuff like that. It's clear that they've been completely like smashed. But in this, they show that they've just chopped his arms off, and it's really kind of crazy, like just seeing it like that. Two different ways of showing it, of course, but definitely the manga comes across as a lot more violent, and I suppose this is what really gets across the cruelness of Gato, and it shows why so many people are afraid to stand up to him and that sort of thing, because they don't want this to happen. This is the one guy who in any way tried to stand up to him, and this is what happened. That Gato saw Kaiza as like this beacon of hope for the other people and decided to have him eliminated, and because of that, everyone changed. Inari, Tsunami, everyone else, and really it's Tazuna as the only person who's really trying to help fix the Land of Waves from Gato's rule, which is obviously what this whole story is actually about in the first place. But before that, they just established how like Inari actually met Kaiza before, I suppose, the relationship between Inari's mother and Kaiza started, which is interesting in that like he's actually the root of that kind of family unit coming together, and him finding out from his father, what it means to be a human, a hero. I mean, not human, just the idea, putting yourself on the line to protect the people that you're close to, and he even says the line, if you do that, even if you die in the attempt, at least the world will be left with proof that a man worth living had died. And it's suppose it's one of those things where like his father says that to him, and he doesn't quite take it fully to heart. That his father actually told him that, like, if I die in the process of doing something like that, just be aware that I died actually trying to do that, rather than the fact that I died. That as much as he was killed by Gato and his men, he died trying to help the village, but they obviously didn't really kind of exactly listen to everything he said, and so kind of bad things happened, of course. So, that's definitely uh, interesting, the way that all plays out, and it really highlights why Inari is so against the idea of heroes. Why every time he sees Naruto talking about wanting effectively to be a hero, he is so fundamentally against it. Why he gets so upset about everything that happens in relation to that. Um, it's really powerfully done, and you see Naruto get very frustrated at this. He really kind of gives out to kind of Inari, saying like, "You're treating life like a melodrama, and all of us are just part of your kind of crybaby kind of story." It takes a he says it takes a really big man to sit around and cry, you brat. And it takes Kakashi, of course, explaining to Inari that Naruto's actually been through a lot, kind of more than you. He didn't know either of his parents, and he knows exactly what it's like to feel the same way you feel. But he does things differently to you. He's realized that at some point he must have realized that it's not worth crying anymore, and it's better to focus your attention to trying to fix that so you can actually change things yourself. It was just a really nice thing to show that Kakashi really understands Naruto. That up to now, like, he's obviously considered him a bit of a goofball, has been aware of some of his potential, but that fundamentally he really fully understands Naruto as a person. It's just nice to get that from the kind of mentor character. Um, while this is all happening, we also get the first scene where Haku, not wearing the mask, so they don't really know who it is, finds Naruto and just has a conversation with him. And obviously, it's like okay, Naruto thinks he's a girl initially, and then the reveal only happens at the very end. It's kind of an odd thing that like one of the first main villains of the series is this kind of androgynous kind of young boy character. But anyway, the main gist of what we get out of this is just that Haku asks Naruto, like, why are you training so hard and stuff like that? Is it to protect someone? And then he just says, like, that, oh, it's only when you put your life on the line to protect someone that you become truly strong. And this really kind of impacts Naruto because he remembers all of the time when people around him became truly strong trying to protect people. Kakashi himself, Iruka as well, and stuff like that. So this really kind of hits Naruto quite hard and stuff like that. And then, like, later on, like, continuing the whole Inari plot, like, we get the moment, I suppose, when Inari's faith in heroes is kind of renewed. And I like how it's not just Naruto who kind of does this. It is Naruto in terms of being the kind of action hero similar to his father, but that it's also his mother who helps get this across as well. Just the scene when the Gato's other two thugs arrive to kind of kidnap her, that she is so willing to fight and basically go down fighting that it kind of renews his hope just as much as Naruto coming in and defeating those two guys does. Speaking of which, really cool action scene for Naruto to show that he's able to defeat two of basically after Haku and Zabuza, Gato's two best guards. So he's able to just take them out like that. It really shows the growth of the character even from the very start of the series, that he's able to do that with some cool shadow clone techniques and stuff like that. But yeah, basically after that, it's the rest of the book is primarily focused on the big action scene that happens afterwards. It's on the bridge, basically. It's Kakashi, Sasuke, and Sakura defending Tazuna against Zabuza and Haku. And the big reveal in this fight early on is obviously that Haku has a Kekkei Genkai, just like the Sharingan is, but his is different in that we get the first kind of, I suppose it ends up being ultimately the first combined chakra nature Kekkei Genkai technique that we see in the series, that being ice style, which is a really interesting one. I don't think the art particularly gets across the ice all that well. This is probably the first time so far in the manga where I feel like the anime does get that technique across just a bit better. You really sort of need color, I think, to get ice across effectively. Like, he does a decent job at showing you that it's meant to be like a mirror and stuff like that, and it's kind of meant to be ice. But it's hard, I think, to get that across in just, black and white manga. So I think he did as much as he could, but I think the anime just fundamentally has an advantage in doing ice style. But yeah, really powerful technique, and at the time, it's this big reveal around Kakashi establishing that because of this, he is effectively more powerful than me. He's more powerful than me and Zabuza. So me having to take on Zabuza here, we're at a big disadvantage because Sasuke, and then later joined by Naruto, who arrives, they're not going to be any match for him because of how powerful he is. He is someone young, but who has mastered his Kekkei Genkai. And because obviously we've learned about Kakashi and his Sharingan, that it's an Uchiha clan thing, so we know it's not fundamentally his technique. He knows how to use it reasonably well, but he won't be a match for it, establishing that his Sharingan can't actually copy another person's Kekkei Genkai, because fundamentally Kakashi can't do Ice style, so he can't copy it, which is an interesting thing. Yeah, I suppose it shows actually how powerful Kakashi is, and that he has mastery over a certain amount of chakra nature, so he can copy so many jutsu in the first place. But really interesting stuff. Like you get some wonderful like art panels, like as Naruto tries to use shadow clones to take out all the mirrors. Sasuke using fireball jutsu, and that sort of kind of thing as the fight progresses. And then in between this, like, they are gradually beginning to give you looks into Haku's flashback. You see Zabuza finding Haku as an orphan and kind of taking him on board, and Haku gradually revealing to us what his dream is, what his goal is to accomplish as a shinobi. Like, of course, we know Naruto wants to become Hokage, gain the respect of everyone in the village. Cool. Sasuke wants to ultimately find someone and kill them, which we get revealed later on. Haku just wants to protect the person who is most precious to him and devote his life to helping that person fulfill their goals. So they haven't got into it just yet, but there's this idea that Haku is just so devoted to that person, who it's very obvious is Zabuza, that his goal is Zabuza's goal. That he's just fine with being someone to help Zabuza fulfill his goal, even though Haku is more powerful than Zabuza. And it's interesting because they seem to set up some sort of a idea that Zabuza, even though he's kind of using Haku, does actually care about Haku. There's that moment when he says, like, that's the same face that I had. So he's obviously reflecting on some of the badness of his own youth, in terms of, like, he used in the previous volume the idea that he had to kill 100 of his classmates, and that's where he got the whole Demon of the Mist name. That it's not really the thing he looks on most fondly in his past, that he sees his childhood as being, like, somewhat traumatic because of that, and he could see that in Haku as well. So some nice character stuff coming out here with the villains, just reflecting on their past. You're getting a little bit of sympathy for them, in that you're gradually seeing that Haku is so devoted to this very villainous character, but in Haku's mind, Zabuza is the one who saved him from being an orphan. That if Haku had never met Zabuza, he probably would have, like, died alone. So there's a connection there that's really interesting, and just the way it comes across is very nice. We then get into the Kakashi Zabuza fight, and This is the second time they fought. I suppose really it's their third engagement, in that the first fight was kind of like Kakashi focusing more on protecting everyone, and he got trapped in the ice prison, and when he got out, he obviously defeated Kakashi. But yeah, this time Kakashi immediately goes to use the Sharingan, but Zabuza has countered it because Haku has kind of analysed the technique from afar. And basically we get the reveal that Kakashi wasn't actually able to predict all of Zabuza's movements and what he was saying. He had effectively put Zabuza under a genjutsu, illusion effectively, and was controlling Zabuza enough to kind of make this happen. It's this kind of like situation where to us it seemed like, to us and Zabuza, it seemed like Kakashi was doing this in the heat of the moment. But what was actually happening was that because of the genjutsu, it appeared as if that was happening, but what was actually happening is that the genjutsu was basically kind of slowing down time sort of for Zabuza, in that Kakashi was just using that to his advantage. It's kind of hard to explain, but I think that this, and especially the anime, I think does a really good job at explaining the exact details of what Kakashi is doing here. But yeah, Zabuza counters this by basically using his, mist jutsu to kind of basically make himself invisible, lower the visual aspect of this. So the whole thing about the Sharingan is that it's a power of the eye, ocular jutsu. If he can't see me, he can't really use the technique on me. So that gives him sort of an edge in the battle, but he still doesn't like gain an advantage over Kakashi. Kakashi is still skilled enough to do that, and I really like the moment. Later on, obviously, Kakashi jumps in, saves Tazuna from being killed by Zabuza, and then kind of reveals that, like, okay, recently I've been known a lot for my Sharingan and as the copy ninja, but I used to be part of effectively Anbu Black Ops. They use a slightly different term for it in this. Let me actually see if can I find it, what exactly they say. Yeah, I was once a member of a ninja assassin corps. I think that's meant to be Anbu Black Ops. But either way, and he said, like, and because of that, I have a lot of skills myself. And he basically says, now I'm going to use my own signature technique. So we obviously know what this is, Lightning Blade Chidori, but it hasn't happened just yet. But nice little tease there. That's not the end of the chapter, and that there's still a lot of other stuff that happens here. But just that Kakashi's going to do something next time out to Zabuza, and we're just waiting to see what that technique is. Next up, Sasuke awakens his Sharingan in his one-on-one and then fight with Naruto against Haku, and he awakens his Sharingan in both eyes, of course, because he's an actual Uchiha, and that's their own technique. Really interesting how it happens, in that he initially he's kind of a good match for Haku just one-on-one, but then he begins to lose once the ice jutsu kind of comes into play. And gradually, as the battle progresses, Sasuke begins to kind of catch up in speed in terms of what Zabuza is doing, Haku is doing, and then ultimately the awakening happens, and he has obviously enhanced reflexes. He can see things a lot more clearly, and it's actually quite quick in the manga. Let me just look back if I'm remembering this correctly. The awakening happens there. Yeah, and then this is when obviously the reveal about him being part of the Uchiha clan and then being slaughtered happens. But yeah, he awakens the Sharingan and immediately blocks the attack against Naruto from Haku. And immediately we kind of end there with the idea that Sasuke is going to die, or Naruto at least thinks he's dead or really badly injured. Whereas in the anime, maybe I'm misremembering the anime, but he awakened the Sharingan and then we had a little bit more action, and then that happened. It's just interesting that the manga jumps straight from Sharingan awakened, he barely even uses the technique, and immediately is kind of hit and injured. Of course, the idea is that if the Sharingan was what allowed him to block the attack in the first place, because that gave him the ability to sense it happening slightly before he would have otherwise have been able to. So still interesting, but slightly differently done here, which is interesting. But yeah, last page of the chapter is obviously the reveal. Naruto is still alive, saved by Sasuke. Shocked that Sasuke would do this for him. That to Naruto, Sasuke has just seemed like he dislikes him the entire time. They've developed a slight rivalry, a slight camaraderie over the course of this volume, but nothing to the point where Naruto would have ever expected Sasuke to take a near fatal hit for him. And so it's a really emotional thing. Like, you get this really nice kind of collection of kind of panels put together of like just Naruto remembering all the times that like Sasuke kind of insulted him and stuff like that. And Sasuke doesn't want to admit that he did it because he like cares for him in any way. Like, my body just moved on its own, you fool. How should I know? And yeah, Naruto just gets furious at this, and we end with an amazing kind of double page spread. I'm gonna kill you. Naruto looking very angry. His eyes have changed. His nails are longer. They don't quite have the chakra glow. It doesn't. Yeah, it doesn't look like that's there just yet. There's a slight sense of some sort of energy within Naruto, but they're definitely getting across the kind of that he's almost transformed into somewhat of a beast, and we don't have what that means just yet. Just that Haku is shocked by this. Obviously, this is the first hint of the kind of Nine Tails kind of the power that it gives Naruto, and that coming out in a really emotional moment. But still, very very kind of shocking way to end the first full 3-in-1 volume. That this is a secret power that Naruto has, and especially like the reveal that Sasuke's awakened to Sharingan. He's now really badly injured. I don't think we're really meant to believe, just at least on the manga, that he's dead. Maybe we'll see more of that at the very start of the next chapter. The anime definitely made it come across that like it was meant to be like a fatal blow and that Sasuke is like dying here. But I assume the manga will go into that a little bit later, that they think he's dead until he like suddenly regains consciousness a bit later on. But yeah, really, again, like final thoughts before I get into my kind of volume awards. Really good volume, just a lot of nice little reveals, a lot of good action, good character stuff as well. Just establishing Sakura actually has been revealed to have some very good positive things that she's good at, excellent chakra control. They establish again that she's very smart and stuff like that, and she's willing to help the team, a little bit more teamwork coming together. Her giving advice to Naruto then giving that advice to Sasuke, them all helping each other pass the training. Kakashi being happy with the team, gaining in power and stuff like that. The Inari, kind of the side characters for this arc, Inari, Tsunami, and then in the kind of flashback, Kaiza, the reveal about their story it's very emotional what happened there, the death of Kaiza, and how that's affected the Land of Waves completely, and Tazuna is the only one kind of still wanting to keep, I suppose, the ultimate goal that Kaiza had going. Kakashi, and Inari talking about Naruto, and then like it's especially like a Haku towards the end of the volume, gaining a lot more information about him and what his ideals are, his goals, and then ending, of course, with the big action scenes, all those reveals. Kakashi has a secret power he's going to reveal to us, his own technique. Sasuke awakens his Sharingan. Naruto is using some sort of a nine-tailed fox power, and Sasuke is potentially dead as well. Like, a lot of eventful stuff happens. But yeah, let's end this video with the awards. My favorite character from the volume, I'm going to have to give it to Sasuke for this one. I'm really not expecting to give it to him in too many of these volumes, but I think it has to be this one. This is a bit of a weird volume in that Naruto has a few moments at the start, and of course the final page, but I don't really want to give it to him as like my favorite character from the volume just because of that. Sakura, good, but not enough stuff. Kakashi, again, good, but not enough. I was thinking of potentially giving it to like Inari, but I'm like, no, again, not quite enough. And then ultimately, I think the most important stuff in this volume comes from Sasuke, in that I think it's a bigger thing. Sasuke asking Naruto for the advice from Sakura, rather than Naruto asking Sakura for it. So him needing the help of his teammates to do this first training exercise, that's a big thing. Him putting himself on the line to protect Naruto, and I didn't even mention it actually. The reveal that the person he wants to kill is his older brother. There's not a lot to say about that right now because we don't know anything about it. But just establishing that, like, as far as most people are aware, there's only one Uchiha left. But this is revealing that there's actually two left, and that I suppose hints that the older brother had something to do with why there's so few Uchihas left. But just forgot to mention that actually happened. That reveal is nice. He awakens his Sharingan in a really big moment. But absolutely, like, the most important thing, I didn't quite expect Sasuke to put himself so on the line for Naruto. And I think him doing that is a really big moment that, given where the series ultimately goes, looking back on this early moment in Sasuke doing this for Naruto, it's super important that this happened. So there's that. My favorite piece of art from the chapter, maybe it's a little bit of a cop-out, but I have to give it to this final double page spread of the volume. Really cool art to see Naruto in that mode for the first time, and just a shocked expression on Haku's masked face. You still get that. My favorite quote from the volume, it's going to be a long one. It's more of a kind of conversation, but I just had to choose this one. It's Kakashi talking to Inari about Naruto. I'm just going to read out basically the 2 pages. Naruto's kind of a brat, but he wasn't trying to be mean or hateful. He just lacks finesse. Mr. Tazuna told us about what happened to your father. Naruto grew up without a father, same as you, actually without any parents. He doesn't remember either one of them or have a single friend. His whole life is one big painful memory. And in the time I've known him, I've never seen him cry or use his troubles as an excuse to sulk or be a coward, not once. He always tries his hardest, hoping someone will notice and give him a kind word or a pat on the back. That's his dream, and he's risked his life for it. I think one day he must have just gotten fed up with crying. He understands what it means to be strong. He knows what it costs and what it's worth, just as your father did. Naruto probably understands you and how you feel better than any of the rest of us. So that's a really, really cool line. If I was to pick a specific quote for this award, it would be probably, he understands what it means to be strong. He knows what it costs and what it's worth. That's a really interesting way of getting across that idea of what it means to be strong. What it costs to be strong, the amount of effort you have to go through to putting your life on the line and stuff like that, and what it's worth being strong. It's really important line, and again, just the idea of this scene showing that Kakashi understands Naruto on a really personal level. So that's really cool. So yeah, that's the volume review for Volume 3, Dreams. Very good volume. Really excited to do Volume 4. To basically, I assume Volume 4 is going to end this arc. But yeah, that video will probably be tomorrow. Not tomorrow, on Monday actually. That video will probably be. But other than that, that has been the video. Thanks for watching this video, and bye.